Coming up on the 2014 FIFA World Cup magazine, a trailblazer for Brazil. It's Mirandinha. We travel to Rio, where football is the incentive to keep these kids out of trouble. And we check in with the Selecao Brasileira as they tackle the Socceroos. But we begin in Tashkent, where Uzbekistan faced Jordan in the second leg of Asia's group playoff, as qualifying continues for the 2014 FIFA World Cup. Anzur Ismailov was to be a central figure, and he opened the scoring to make it 2-1 on aggregate to Uzbekistan. With half-time approaching, though, Jordan drew level, Saeed Al-Murjan with the spectacular strike. And that's how it stayed until the end of extra time. And with Jordan 9-8 ahead on penalties, up stepped Ismailov to keep the tie alive. Victory to Jordan, who can now look forward to a two-legged playoff with the fifth-place team from South America. It won't be Argentina, though. They qualified for the finals with 2 games to spare, following an emphatic victory in Paraguay. Lionel Messi opened the scoring, and although Paraguay drew level, Argentina were far too strong for their opponents, who won't be in Brazil next year. Sergio Aguero made it 2-1, and goals from Angel Di Maria, another penalty from Messi, and this effort from Maxi Rodriguez secured the two-time winners a 16th finals appearance. 3 more automatic berths are available from South America, with Colombia and Chile the favourites to fill 2 of them. Ecuador's game with Uruguay in October will go a long way to deciding who finishes 4th. In Andorra, Robin van Persie ensured the Netherlands became the first European nation to qualify for the 2014 tournament. Runners-up in 2010, the Dutch are unbeaten in qualifying. And with Van Persie in this kind of form, they'll be a team to avoid when the final draw is made in Brazil in December. Scoring his second was a far simpler task, but his 8 goals in the Netherlands' 8 qualifying ties have been instrumental in getting Louis van Gaal's squad to the finals, where they'll also be joined by Italy, winners of Europe's Group B. A meeting between the USA and Mexico is always a big deal, but when World Cup qualification is on the line, the stakes are even higher. Tim Howard was called into action early on, Christian Jimenez with the effort for Mexico. Into the second half, and the USA's Eddie Johnson was the man to break the deadlock. His towering header putting Jurgen Klinsmann's men within touching distance of a berth in Brazil. The USA's German coach played in 3 FIFA World Cups, but Landon Donovan is set to feature in his 4th next year after scoring the goal that confirmed the home side's passage to the finals. Meanwhile, in Kingston, a 4th FIFA World Cup appearance was the prize on offer for Costa Rica if they could defeat their hosts, Jamaica. With a little over 16 minutes remaining, Richard McCallum handed the initiative to Costa Rica, with first a poor pass and then some questionable goalkeeping as he allowed Randall Brenner's shot to squeeze in at his near post. But the travelling fans' joy appeared to be a little premature when in the 92nd minute, Jermaine Anderson equalised for Jamaica. But it mattered not. Mexico's defeat in Columbus ensured a point was enough to take Costa Rica to Brazil. 4 points from their remaining 2 games will see Honduras join the Ticos in the finals next year. Both Mexico and Panama can still make it through, either in the 3rd automatic spot or via a playoff with New Zealand, should they finish 4th. It was here in Brasilia, the federal capital of Brazil, a city planned and designed by Lucio Costa and Oscar Niemeyer, that the Seleção began their successful campaign to retain the FIFA Confederations Cup earlier this year. 3 months on, it was the city in which Brazil's national team began the next stage of their preparations for the 2014 FIFA World Cup, with a friendly against Australia, one of the first nations to qualify for next year's tournament.
I know football was founded in England, as they say, but you know, certainly Brazil is famous for football. And what better place to come and play a World Cup where you know the people, all they do is live and breathe football, and the passion and the colour and the way the tournament's going to be held is going to be amazing.
The Socceroos are now coached by Holger Osijek, Franz Beckenbauer's assistant when West Germany won the 1990 FIFA World Cup. He's assembled a squad that blends youth with experience, a formula that he hopes will see Australia reach the knockout stages for only the second time. And to help them achieve that goal, he's keen to test his team against some of the world's best.
I think it's important, like now with the Brazil game coming up, to play teams with a different playing culture in order to get an idea how their style of play works and how we have to adapt. But I simply believe in our own strength, and you shouldn't change too much. You should work on the strengths of your players, and you should definitely focus on things that are in them, that they feel comfortable with.
Brazil, meanwhile, are still basking in the glory of winning the FIFA Confederations Cup for a fourth time. Media interest in the squad seems bigger than ever, and the pressure is on to finally erase the memory of 1950, when Brazil, as hosts, failed to lift the World Cup when only a draw was required in the tournament's final game.
Everything changed for the Brazilian national team after the Confederations Cup. The players' expectations have changed. The expectations of the fans and the media have also changed, as has the way other teams see them. Teams that perhaps didn't respect Brazil as a serious opponent, even when they're playing at home. Now, other nations are seeing Brazil in a different light. So a great deal has changed.
Judging by their performance in this encounter, though, the weight of expectation appears to sit comfortably on the shoulders of Luis Felipe Scolari's squad. Holger Osijek's Socceroos were outclassed by their opponents, who created chance after chance in a one-sided first half. Within 35 minutes of the opening whistle, Joe had scored twice and Neymar had weighed in with yet another goal for his country. And there was no let-up for Australia after the interval. Ramirez, Alexandre Pato and Luis Gustavo all got on the score sheet as Brazil won 6-0 to celebrate the country's Independence Day in some style. As a host city, Brasilia appears to be very much to the liking of the Selecao, who'll return here on June 23rd to play their third group game in the 20th FIFA World Cup. One of Salvador's many tourist attractions is the Mercado Modelo. Formerly the customs house, it was here that slaves from Africa spent their first nights in Brazil. Today, it's an altogether happier place.
Welcome to Salvador. My name is Jani Abuji, and it will be my great pleasure to take you on a tour of Mercado Modelo. Mercado Modelo was built in 1912 as a general market where the local population could go to buy their goods, their food and drink, and then head back to the Cidade Alta. In 1947, there was a fire that almost destroyed the Mercado Modelo, and it was eventually relocated to the Customs House in 1966. The building was transformed into a shopping area. Nowadays, the Mercado Modelo is spread over 2 floors, with 250 shops and stalls selling beautiful arts and crafts. This is a balangandan, a typical artifact from Bahia. It was worn by the slaves in days gone by to symbolize the wealth of their masters. Each of these little fruits represented a good deed, and if a slave received 8 of them, they were granted their freedom. Here we have a balangandan with an orange, a pineapple, a cashew and a cocoa pod. Each fruit symbolises the protection of a saint or an orisha, and today these balangandans bring us good luck. We're now at the end of our visit to Mercado Modelo, and I do hope you've enjoyed it. Now you can take the elevator up to the historical city. But before you go, please have a listen to an instrument from Bahia, the berimbau.
Sunset, as seen from the Copacabana in beautiful Rio de Janeiro. The beaches in the city's southern zone are a popular destination throughout the day, but after dark in years gone by, it was here that some youngsters were drawn into trouble. Almost 20 years ago, a local football coach decided to act and so set up a sports school on the Golden Sands.
The name of the project is Geração Craque na bola. The word crack speaks for itself. It's something really bad. And ball is the ball. We're basically saying no to drugs and yes to football.
Originally, Almir Fernandes and his colleagues relied on charitable donations to finance their work, but in 2009 the state of Rio de Janeiro started funding the operation. The school has since attracted thousands of children, offering them somewhere safe to come and play each night. But they can do so on one condition.
Together with an application form, the children have to present a school certificate. The students who come here must be enrolled in school. You must study, you must be going to school to be a part of our family. We work with children from the age of 5 to young people aged 21.
When Fernandes launched the programme, football was the only activity on offer. Today, following requests from some parents, volleyball, handball and gymnastics are also practiced, increasing the appeal yet further. It's all about the children, but their parents are also encouraged to come along and participate in any way they wish.
We are an extension of their family and we want to include the parents. We're happy for them to participate, to be more active, to be frequent visitors. Because what I believe in my mind is that these parents must walk alongside their children. They must know where their child is, where they're going, and where they're playing ball.
The children who attend the evening training sessions come from a wide variety of social backgrounds. The kids from nearby favelas mix freely with those from more affluent homes, but all are united by their love of sport and a desire to avoid the pitfalls present in every big city. And if money is tight, bus fares are covered, ensuring that everyone has the chance to enjoy the activities and opportunities on offer.
Today the integration is perfect. In the early days you could differentiate one child from the next by their vocabulary, but not anymore. Today everyone speaks the same language, everyone works on the same friendships, the same union, and this is very important. We really value the social aspects of this project.
With the 2014 FIFA World Cup on the horizon, Almir is hoping the children can get involved in the festivities by volunteering for programmes across the city. One way or the other, it's an event these youngsters will never forget. When the sun sets on another beautiful day in Porto Alegre, many local residents can always be found at the Gasômetro, a disused power plant on the banks of the Guaíba, sipping their chimarrão and chewing the fat. A traditional drink that's been passed down from generation to generation, chimarrão is hugely popular in the southern states of Brazil.
It's a social event. It's a companion for reflection. If you go into any public building here, you will see gauchos drinking chimarrão.
It's like a tea. It's a herb from here in Rio Grande do Sul. It's just the herb mixed with water. The way you make it is what does it, as well as the way you drink it.
It's good for your stomach, good for your health. There are many types of herb you can use, and it's easy to make. Just the herb and hot water.
So it's easy to make, or so we're told. And here to show us how is Porto Alegre resident and former referee, Carlos Simon.
I'm going to show you how to make the best chimarrão in the world. First, take the herb, which is lovely and green. Get your cuia or porongo and pour in the herb. Make sure the cuia is about half full. Now shake it a little. Put an open hand on the top and turn it upside down, so the herb falls to one side. You can adjust it with your finger. The herb is like tea. Next, pour in some hot water from a flask. Once the water is inside, insert the straw. Your chimarrão is ready. And you drink it like this. This chimarrão won't be getting a red card from me.
Rio de Janeiro has long since been Brazil's most popular tourist destination. This vibrant city, set between the sea and the mountains, has much to offer its many visitors, both day and night. With an urban population of just under 13 million, Rio is the second largest city in Brazil and one of the largest metropolises in South America. In April 2010, torrential rains caused floods and landslides that killed 70 people and brought much of the city to a standstill. In response to this, to the traffic congestion and the upcoming major events in the city, a decision was taken to create an operations centre. Located in Rio's central zone, the operations centre was the brainchild of the city's mayor, Eduardo Paes. It opened just 8 months after the floods and is a state-of-the-art facility to rival similar centres around the world.
We needed an operations centre that could coordinate and deal with crises and emergencies, so that's why the project went ahead. We have many communication tools with which to broadcast news to the population. They receive it via Twitter, Facebook, radio and other media outlets, and all the information we have here we try to relay immediately. At the same time, the population, via Twitter and other means of communication, informs us, so that we can get to places faster and even more efficiently.
The centre is operational 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and the 600 employees work closely with representatives from other agencies responsible for traffic, public transport, civil defence and weather forecasting. The centre's control room boasts the largest video wall in Latin America, consisting of 80 46-inch monitors, displaying the images generated by more than 800 CCTV cameras throughout the city. Rio is already the most visited city in the Southern Hemisphere, and in June 2014 will be even busier as football fans from around the world head into town for the FIFA World Cup.
We've been working closely with the planning people from FIFA, with logistics, with the local organising committee and the Department for Transport, so we can make sure everything works in the city. We firmly believe that the Operations Centre will be a great asset for the World Cup.
A great asset for a great city that will welcome the world with open arms when the 20th FIFA World Cup kicks off in June. In his pomp, Francisco Hernani Lima da Silva was one of Brazilian football's pioneers. He's currently the general manager of Fortaleza's Arena Castelao, but in the 1980s, Mirandinha, as he was known, was a prolific striker. And the long road to stardom began just down the road.
When I was young, 14 or 15, I would play football in a well-known area close to my house called Lagamar. It was a poor neighborhood, and children there were deprived of opportunities. At 15, I was already playing with adults and had taken a very keen interest in football. From time to time, I would even neglect my studies and miss school to play football.
Mirandinha made history in 1987 when, aged 28, he became the first Brazilian to sign for an English club. A student living in Newcastle in England's northeast alerted the local club to Mira's goal-scoring prowess, which had earned the Palmeiras striker a call-up to Brazil's national team for a friendly in London.
The senior national team was always my main dream and objective. I eventually made my full international debut at Wembley, the home of football. There had already been some interest from Newcastle to sign me, and we had, in fact, already started negotiations. Even so, I played that game from start to finish with a great deal of will and determination, and that helped me score Brazil's equaliser. That served to ensure I would end up in England and head to Newcastle United.
Now 54 and living comfortably in his hometown of Fortaleza, Mirandinha struggled to adjust to life in England. There was the language barrier and the food, and the style of football was somewhat different to what he'd grown used to. But help was at hand from an unlikely source.
The ball was always in the air. I wasn't a tall player. I'm of medium height. But I managed to overcome those challenges with a great deal of dedication and, above all, with the support of my teammates. They were extremely important in helping me to settle in, especially Paul Gascoigne, who was quite young at the time. He was a true host and always gave me his full support.
After 19 goals in 54 games for Newcastle, Mirandinha returned to Palmeiras, and after a spell in Japan, he retired in 1995. He's tried his hand at coaching, but it's managing Fortaleza's World Cup stadium that's keeping him busy right now. The tournament's been good for him, and he feels others will benefit too.
I believe this will be a unique moment for all of us here in Brazil, and perhaps more so for the people in the state of Ceará, here in the northeast, where things don't happen as easily as they can do in other parts of Brazil. But thanks largely to those involved with the construction of the arena and those dealing with the organization of the Confederations Cup and the World Cup itself, we will reap the benefits for years to come.
Mirandinha's international career was all too brief, just 4 appearances for Brazil, but he'll be a keen observer of the national team's fortunes when the FIFA World Cup gets underway. But he may well be back in the game by then. His contract with the Arena Castelao runs out in December, and he's itching to get back on the training pitch to pass on his knowledge to Brazil's next generation of globe-trotting stars.
I will remain in football, If it's in the interests of Arena Castelao for me to continue doing what I have been doing, I will stay on until the 2014 World Cup. But I will eventually return to where I really belong, to the football pitch, where I enjoy working the most. I would like to develop potential young talent wherever it exists. I will return to coaching because that's what I like to do.
Voltar para o banco de reserva, que é o que eu gosto de fazer.
Next time on the 2014 FIFA World Cup magazine, we take to the skies over Brasilia. We're with Paulo Rink and the Germany community in the southern city of Curitiba. And we meet Dada Maravilha, one of the most prolific strikers Brazil has ever produced. Until then, goodbye.